we're just going to chat.
Perfect. That absolutely works. I was watching them. I've watched most of them. I was finishing watching Tegan's today. That's the only one that I didn't finish. And because I absolutely love them. Anyway, but yeah, so I was sitting there trying to do this video with my collection. And like I'm talking about, I'm like, I just like it. I don't know. I just like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like, and I'm like, this is so boring. I am so done. I can't like, I'm not enjoying this. I love playing with my stuff. I don't really like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? Sometimes I just feel like that. And like, I put that all away and this, that, and the other. And then I came the other day and I was like, what do I even want to do? What do I even want to say? Like, I don't like some days I'm spent. I don't know anymore. Yeah. And so I was like, I was going to go and sit with my tarot cards and just like pull some stuff and talk it out. And I was like, I'm just going to film this because it's on my mind. And I'm sure that other people feel that way too, where there's like, there's this wall that you hit where it's just like, but this is not enjoyable anymore.
Yeah.
I still love what I do. I still love my tarot. I play with my tarot every day.
Yeah.
But once what you're doing starts to feel like content that you have to do versus what you want to do, man, that just hits a wall. But I'm like that with everything, like with art and with, you know, creating and anything I'm doing. It's like, once I feel like I have to, man, it's like everything just the life gets sucked out.
Yeah. I get that like rebellious teenager energy. I don't want to do my homework. Exactly.
Yeah. Like, that's this was fun, but now you said I have to do it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. That's totally how I was feeling. And then I watched her video and I was like, all right, I'm just going to fucking flip on the camera and go. And because that's what I do in my member videos. And those are so much more enjoyable because I don't worry about whatever. I just say whatever. And it's random, weird, hot shit. But, you know, it's so much more fun.
Yeah, that's where the fun is. Like, you know, I love just like turning on the camera and be like, I don't know what we're doing, but like if I'm doing like the journal thing, like one day and like every time I walked outside, if I did not almost step on a lizard or one almost jumped out, like there were lizards everywhere. I'm like, we're going to sit down. We're going to do something with lizards. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to figure it out. And we did some basic lizard shit. And, you know, like this is
my
how
favorite though.
Yeah.
That's how my brain works too. I was working in my commonplace. I think I recorded it as a member video and I was just doing my commonplace and like nothing on the page made any sense whatsoever, but it made sense in my brain. So I'm like, I'm just going to connect this little thing here. And there's like, you know, inappropriate things over here and over here it's talking about something totally different. And I'm like, that's fine. It all goes together in my brain. So this is where we're at.
It does. And I think that's why I like, you know, putting kind of all the different elements all the way together because my brain likes to hop around. So if I don't allow that hop around, if I like anchor down somewhere, which I mean, I'll go through phases where I anchor down, but it's like once you start spinning your wheels there and you realize that that's the only thing you're doing and that's starting to get difficult, it's like you got to be able to bounce.
Yep, absolutely. I just like shoved my my planner, like my big Hobonichi planner in the closet and I was like, I'm done. So I got a book, like a journal, and I'm like, I just want to just journal again like I used to. Like the whole planned in my brain is like, it's dated. So if I don't do a thing on a date, I failed. It doesn't matter that I did it for 30 fucking days straight. Nope, I failed. It's done. It's over.
Yep. Doesn't matter. Oh no. That's what, like I have gone back and forth, especially with planners so many times. I swear, I'm like, have you tried this? Yes, I probably have. My brain is the same as that though. I'm like, if I miss a day or like, you know, I miss a month, I'm not going to come back because I've already failed that planner. It's
done. It's over. Yeah. Just chuck it in the garbage finished. Because it's over. Yep.
You might as well tear it up. I'm going to tear it up. I'll dunk it in some tea and then I'm just going to use it in journals.
Yep. Oh,
Done with that.
I've been missing that, like that free flow journaling though. I think that was doing that page in my commonplace, because that's what my commonplace journal is. It is just a hot mess of whatever I felt like doing that day. There's no theme, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just whatever. And I was realizing that like I have made my tarot readings, my tarot journal, by putting it in a planner. I had made it so ridiculously boring and routine. There was no art to it anymore. And I was like, oh shit. That's a missing piece that's really important to me. And I was like, okay, this needs to go. This needs to go.
Yeah.
It's not good for me. Cause then I'm like, there's no, like, the most expression I had was a sticker. Are you kidding me? A giant sticker. That's the best I could manage artistically.
Washi tape.
Yeah. I was like,
I'd stick a piece of washi tape, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that a million times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, especially when it came to tarot journaling, like I've gone through so many iterations of what I want to see and what I want it to look like. At first it was like just solid word blocks, you know, when I was younger. I mean, I've always had, I've had running journals since I was very young, and I still have some of them, which are cringeworthy at best. And, but it was mostly just like word dumps, you know, mixed in with, you know, fun stuff on the outside and this, that, and the other. So like I started with just like word blocks, you know, like I would draw out the little cards or like separate where I did the spread, and then just like word vomit all over the place. And that's what really helped me connect intuitively and sit in an energy for a while. Cause I would just like sit there and journal, just like word dump.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, then I would add images, and then I would add this, and then I would add that. And then once it became like I was, you know, printing and doing this and like trying to get, but I want to see all the cards there, and I want to do this. And then it was like, I got it to a point where it became routine. I was doing the same things, or like, I was like, this is just, like, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. Like I'm looking at the same thing. I'm doing the same thing because I'm working in a rectangle, you know, and it's like, I know you can do so much within that, but there's only so much, because I want to see it. And then I'm going to jot this down, but then I'd lose the plot, and then I would want to decorate. It was like, it was too much. Like my brain was just like, this is not working. Yeah. So I would switch it up. And now I know that it's not that I want to tarot journal per se, but I want to bring the tarot into what I'm doing in my journal. So now it's like, oh, well, I'm feeling this card. I'm pulling a card. You know what? I just want to dive into this card. Yeah. Or I want to take this reading and I want to expand it into just like, what did it make me feel like? And then just like collage or draw or smear paint all over the place.
That's such a great way to approach it.
It made more sense to me. I'm like, I'm not trying to record the card. I'm trying to record the feeling, and I'm missing the plot because I'm too busy trying to, because I work in aesthetics. We get this about each other, you know, like a thing.
The aesthetic is it's not a look, it's a feeling. And trying to explain that to people is like, I feel like I'm always saying that, like, here's me trying to articulate a felt experience, whether it's through words or through art or whatever. Like the aesthetics, you look at my channel, your channel, it's not about the look, it's about the feeling.
It's about the feeling.
That's what we're trying to.
Yeah. I'm like, and it's so crazy because I feel like this is like, tarot, I feel like, has expanded my vocabulary in that way, because I feel like as a kid, I didn't really understand what I was trying to do. And now I can articulate what I was trying to do, because it's so funny, because the same shit I did as like an 11-year-old, I'm doing now. I'm taking book pages from stuff that I've never read, and I'm ripping them apart and pasting them on something like this. I've always done this.
Same. I always destroyed my books.
Always done this. And it's just like we packaged those things when we were kids as just like, I don't have anything else to do. I didn't have the internet all the time.
Right.
You know, like I didn't I couldn't fill my days with stuff, so I had to figure it out. So I was constantly creating and making stuff and playing with things and experimenting. And it's like, the older I got, I put that in a box. box. And then again, the older I got, I realized that I got to take it back out, because that's where that core of my joy comes from, you know?
Yeah. It's such a big part of like how we express ourselves in a crazy world that like just doesn't make any sense a lot of the time.
It doesn't. Oh my God. And I have to say, I've already started my little hidden tarot journal.
Yay, exciting.
When I saw it come out, I was like, oh my God, I love this so much. I love it so much. I love it so much. I'm like, that's so speaking my speak.
Yeah.
You know, just
that's been part of my going back to like realizing that tarot journaling in a dated planner does not work for me, because I was like, okay, I have like 5 secret tarot journals now, because I just keep making new ones. And because it's so much more fun. I'm like, I just open a page, and sometimes I use the page. Sometimes I just cover the whole page up. And there's like that I think especially after coming from tarot journaling in a dated planner, the freedom of that, like just open the book and just right here, right now. This is what we're doing.
Just do it.
Just do it. And you know, the really funny thing is like every freaking time, whatever's on the page and then the cards I pull around, like it always resonates with what's going on in the moment. And it's just like every reading I have done, every journaling page I've done for like the last week has been basically, girl, slow your fucking roll. You are on the road to burnout every time. Cause like, I know it's coming. I'm like, shit, I got way too many projects. I need to like scale back. And
oh yeah. And then you get those messages again and again, and you're just like, I will though. Yeah. I will scale back.
I promise.
I promise.
Not me over here. Started a novel on top of everything else. I was like, oh, damn it. Okay. Now I gotta
I might be going in the wrong direction. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
I can cut back on some other things. Probably, maybe. Poor Kevin, I like he's like, it's never gonna stop, is it? Like, probably not.
Oh no.
It's just so many ideas, like so many ideas.
It's so true. And like, I have a tendency to block myself in. It doesn't matter what I'm working on. I'm like, okay, I want to do this and I want to finish the thing, because sometimes it's just really hard to finish the thing. It's really easy to start it, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And so I try to keep myself on task, but then I learned in the past, probably 2 months, I've really, really allowed myself to flow and be like, just because you put it aside doesn't mean that you're going to not do it. So like currently I've been very much allowing myself to be working on something and then see something or come across something and get an idea and stop or finish the task that I was doing, put that aside, do something with that new idea, whether that be start a page in a journal or paste something over on this side, or come and grab a deck and pull out, you know, whatever it is, I'll stop. I'll do that. And then I'll go back. And like, I've started this kind of rotation of like 4 or 5 different things that I've been able to kind of allow myself to play with, knowing that I'm coming back and everything is getting done, but I don't have to box myself into it. And that's a new feeling for me, because I always try to box myself in, and then the rebel in me will always stop immediately. Yeah. So being able to do that has been a new, it's new. Like this morning, like I said, I'm already all, I have worked on 3 journals, different aspects of it, and pulled tarot cards and jotted some stuff down in my hidden journal. And I've started a piece of art in my art journal, and I've done some little ephemera for like, I've just been working on everything that sparks me, and it all gets done in the end, you know?
That's kind of how my days go. I get asked that a lot. Like, how do you do all those things? How do you finish all those things? That's how I do it. I do the exact same thing, because it is 9:25 here in the morning. This morning already, I have reread through part of a thing that I posted on, that I'm getting ready to post on AO3 to check it. I have already done a tarot reading. I have already done some writing for the practice stuff in my membership. And then here we are. I've been up 2 hours. That's how I do it. I just bounce real quick. Okay, check mark this. I got this little section done. Now move on to this, check mark that, got that little section done. And I think it's partially because my brain, for the most part, does not have the ability to really sit and just lock into something for like 8 hours.
Same.
I can do it for like a few. And it's particularly if it's something like writing or like creating a big art piece or something like that, I will absolutely lose hours. Like, where did the day go? I don't even know. I lost all last week. I don't know where it went because I wrote a short story. I don't know where last week went or what I actually did, but I accomplished that, I guess. But
you did that.
So that does happen from time to time. But the most of the time, I'm like, I bounce like that. I do a couple things for a couple hours. Like I make progress on the thing. I don't finish it because I just can't. My shit's too big. It's too
and
grand ideas.
I know. And it's like, I feel like sometimes I forget that. It's like, you know, it's a saying for a reason. Rome wasn't built in a day. And it's like, it wasn't. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to do everything in a day, but I can feel like I progress. I feel like if I touch a bunch of stuff, I do feel like I've accomplished a lot more than if I've suffered through something else.
Yeah. That's a big thing with creativity too, I think. Like trying to push yourself to like force your way through to get to whatever stopping point or finish point or whatever you've imagined in your brain that is the end result, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't know about for you, but for me, that's always a moving target too.
Very moving target.
Like what I think is the end is never the end. My short story, I was like, maybe 5,000 words. That's good length. It's 19,000 words. 19. Why? Because it just needed to keep going. The end wasn't the end that I thought it was going to be. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to write it out. Here we are.
Just do it. But it's got to come out some way, shape, or form. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. But in the meantime, like, even though I did all that, because I bounce, I did also do all of my normal things that I'm supposed to do in a general week. And I'm sure I did other things that I can't remember off the top of my head because I don't remember yesterday, but
never. Yeah. I can't keep shit straight, but I do the same thing. I feel like we have a lot of the same, kind of creative brain. Like it goes, we have a template that's very similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a template that's very similar. So
it was fascinating when we were in Florida, we were talking with Lisa about our creative processes, and you and I are like, ours are completely aligned. And then Lisa's over here. Let's talk about her. She's not here, but it was so interesting because you don't really think about that until somebody else like is almost like surprised by your process. Like, what do you mean everybody's brain doesn't work like creative chaos mess? Like, what do you mean? I just figured that's how everybody is.
It's so like, I think the most eye-opening thing with that conversation was the need for parameters. Yeah. That kind of took, I was like, what do you mean? Like, that was foreign to me.
Yeah.
And so it was like looking at that from the other side where it's like, what do you mean? Don't you just play? Don't you just like figure it out? Like especially when it comes to artistic things, and I say that I approach card reading in the same way. I'm just like, I'm just going to try it until it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like I'm just going to try it until it works. I didn't have anyone around me that did these things.
Same,
in a broad sense. Like I was the only one over there ripping papers and taping stuff and painting and doing all this kind of stuff. And, you know, looking at these cards and playing with these things. Like, so I just had to kind of figure it out myself, you know, just kind of trial and error. So for me, having parameters, I want to learn them, but then I want to be like, but why?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the same reason I want to read the guidebook, just because I want to know what you thought when you did it, but then I'm going to throw all that shit out the window and do my own thing with it. But I really do want to know what your intention was. And
if there's no intention in it, I usually don't even mess with it.
Yeah.
Like if it's just a basic guidebook.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it away. I love that you wrote it, and maybe I'll go to it. But if there's nothing about like the intention, which is what I love in a guidebook, like
same.
I'm just that kind of reader. I'm not really gonna.
Same. I'm like, I don't want your guidebook to teach me how to read the cards. I want to know what you thought when you made them.
Me too. That's the most fascinating thing to me.
That's the best thing. It's just, I mean, I get it. Guidebooks are like they are. You're supposed to be able to pick up a deck and, you know, maybe you've never read tarot or whatever. But, and that's cool too. There's a time and a place for that. But like,
Absolutely.
I would love to see more of here's what I was thinking. Here's why I did this. Like, I want to know what your intention was. There's this little oracle deck that I have by Logan. What is it? Black Salt Oracle. And in his little guidebook, he has, you know, the typical, you know, divination and here's what it means. But then he has this section for every card of here's why I did this. Here's what I was thinking. That's my favorite part of that whole guidebook, is because there was this whole thing about why a pizza cutter instead of scissors for that sort of traditional cutting of ties and everything. And he had this whole little paragraph about why a pizza cutter. And it was phenomenal. And it was like, you know, person was like, everybody does scissors. You know, everybody does this thing. And there's like the pizza cutter with the pie slices. And like, it was just brilliant. And I was like, yes, every guidebook should have that.
I love that. But I think it's the approach. Like when I come to tarot, I'm walking up because of the art.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I'm staying because of the spirituality and the way that I use it. But like, I'm going to step up to the plate because of the art. Mm-hmm. And so when, just like if I'm going to a museum or if I'm learning about an artist, I'm like, I want to know what made you think that way, or like why that color, or it's all about that, the symbols and lines and thoughts and the process that just, I feel like it just heightens the experience. It just wouldn't be the same without it. Because if I wanted it without it, I would just grab a deck of playing cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally agree. Because I always like, one of my things about like the tarot is, if the art doesn't matter, why is it there? Because it's not there on playing cards. And you can read playing cards just fine without it. It's its own thing. And that's great. You can read a Marseille. The pips in the Marseille do not have images. So if the images, if you're doing a fully scenic tarot and the art isn't supposed to matter, why the hell is it there?
And it's all the symbology. It's all the little symbols. It's all I was watching someone and it made me think of the tarot. I was watching someone do, it was art something. I don't remember if she was doing little like portraits on book paper or if she was doing it in a journal. I don't remember what she was doing. But she made the connection about the mark making and how in art, in symbol, like every little line can have 10,000 meanings. And like this circle for me means this. So in my art, when you see that, that's this feeling. That's this, whatever. It's like, if you notice this texture is because, you know, grittiness feels that way to me, or grief looks like this to me, or you know, happiness has threads on it, you know, and it's just like so cool. But yes, like absolutely, you know, think of the you know, think of Pixie and Arthur Wade or Crowley and you know, all of them sitting down and being like, no, but there needs to be a line here because this line means something. And it's like, it does matter. And then when you take that and flip it on its head, put things that don't belong or things that weren't intentional, and then create that for yourself. It's like, that's what I want to hear. That's the juice. That's what I'm here for. Because then not only is the tarot more demystified, but it also makes it even more magical, because then there's another layer upon it that you yourself draw on, because those are your, you know, little keys. Your little thoughts.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, that's the whole,
everybody else's.
Yeah. That's the whole point of having different decks with different art, right? Like if the art didn't spark something, then we would all be using the exact same deck all the time.
All the time.
That's why I keep going through my deck collection, and I'm trying to declutter, mostly just because I physically don't have the space for it anymore. And I'm trying to declutter. And it is so hard for me to get rid of things because I'm like, but this art does something, and maybe I don't need it every single day. And maybe it's like, it might even be a one-time felt experience. Collage decks are a great example. I have a million collage decks, but they are all so unique and different. It's like, how am I supposed to choose one over the other? It's like apples and oranges. Like, I don't.
It is.
So I'm having trouble with that.
I know. Well, especially in that category, because I feel like every collage then flows and separates into every single card, has something different to say every time you look at it. Because it's collage.
Because it's collage. You pick up on something different every time.
There's something different every time you look at this. And it's like, it doesn't matter. It's like, because one time the background is going to catch your eye. This line, this image, this color, this shape, this texture. There's so much to it, especially mixed media. I'm speaking mixed media collage, but even digital collage, there tends to be hidden objects in digital,
It's so great. It's just, there's a whole world within that. And then you have the opposite, where you have these more like completely like stripped down tarots that are really simple, but then there is so much like power in that. And you're like,
much.
What is spoken in the absence?
The cursed auguries. You know the one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Sticks and stones, babe. But oh my God. The tone that sets. I'm like, I don't care if there are literally 4 apples on this card. It speaks. Like it's
you
talking.
You feel that 4 apples. Yeah.
Yes.
You feel it,
You feel every core inside, every, bruise on the outside. It's just like, it speaks volumes because it has set a tone.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the, it's one of my favorite, I think, pip decks. I think Tegan and I we did a video about pip decks, and I think I mentioned that was like my number 1 favorite pip deck.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that one. I think I missed that one completely.
It's followed by that, because we're like, okay, so Antique Anatomy, Cursed Auguries, and then what was the
Antique Anatomy? I love Antique Anatomy.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, Antique Anatomy and Cursed Auguries. That's a really hard decision to decide. Ooh, I love them both. Like, how could you decide? That's like choosing between your children.
Oh, it definitely is, because to me, I'm like, that's 2 totally different feels.
They're totally different. They're totally different feels, but and they're both just beautiful, and they just resonate with so much energy. It's just, they're so chatty. They're so chatty.
They're very expressive.
Yeah. And that's so cool when it's a pip deck. That's my favorite. When a pip deck is that expressive, I'm like, yep, I'm here.
And then I don't know if you've ever done this or if you do this. Being a writer, I'm sure that you do. For me, because I loved that growing up, I was always steeped in stories and storytelling. My family, we were a huge family, especially on my dad's side. So there was always storytelling going on. We'd go for the week, at the end of the week, and, we'd visit with everybody, and everybody came together, and it was loud and boisterous. And you were telling a story, man, you were pointing that finger and you were getting in the face, it was big. It was,
you were feeling it.
It was, you were feeling it. And then as a kid, they're all talking in Cajun French. So you what's going on? So you're trying to hear and catch and trying to see what's happening. And so when I go into a reading or whatever, and I have a deck that's that expressive, it's like I go directly to that storytelling. Oh my God, doesn't this feel like a monster creeping through the woods? Something peering out from behind this bush, something watching, something stalking. Or other times it's just oh, you feel this light coming over the hill. So it's you follow that story within the cards and within the feel. And so it's I start to I'll do the reading, but it's sometimes it goes into story form where I'm just if I was the maiden walking in the woods and I heard that snap of that twig, where do you go? What do you do? What would she do?
Right.
and like kind of take it from there into that storytelling vibe. I think that's why I enjoy watching your one shots, because that kind of goes into that realm.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read a one shot. It's a little bit like it's a little bit like telling a story, because you're pulling in pieces, and nothing's planned. And I think that's the thing. When you follow like a spread or something, right? You've got a very specific predetermined context that you're working within. And while I love spreads, and I think they're really helpful, especially when you're trying to like get down to a specific thing. Like, I have this specific thing I need some clarity around. Spreads are great for that. And that's how I tend to go to them and when I tend to use them. But if I'm just like, it's like that video that you did where I'm just talking to my cards. I'm just having a conversation. That free form story route is the way I like to go, because I feel like it evolves naturally.
It does.
And I find the narrative within it. And that, again, similar to you growing up with stories being a huge thing, storytelling and stuff of that nature. And like, I've like, ever since I was little, I was like, I want to be a writer when I grow up. I'm still trying to be that, but you know, one of these days. And that was so how I understood the world, was through stories and through other characters. And that's how I made sense of stuff that was going on, you know, in my world and with me, was through that story. And tarot is just like an interactive way to do that.
Yes.
It's kind of like, it's like the difference between watching a movie and playing a video game, right? So you're watching a movie, you're passive, you're exploring it, right? Through the narrative and all of that. Playing a video game, you're actively engaged in creating that story. Tarot for me is similar to that. It's like playing a video game because I'm actively engaged in creating that story.
And like, I love that thought because it's so true. Like immediately when you said that, it's like, I could imagine, you know, having that player, and then, you know, when we finally got video games that you could go off into the world and explore, but it's just like, I don't have to stay on this path.
Right.
Let me go over here and see. And it's just like, it's true. It is like that. Yeah. It's kind of like playing a video game.
It's like playing a video game. And the best part is with all of these decks, you do not have to stay within the framework of one story. So you can, and that's like my one shots. I generally have 4 to 5, sometimes 6 decks. Like I have a lot of decks.
Which I love.
The point.
I love that. I don't do that very often. I'll do 2, maybe 3 to watch you do it with all of them. I'm like, why don't you do that? Take it all.
Take it all. It's so fun because it brings in so many different energies.
I love reading stuff that is so ridiculous that you're just, how gross can I make this? Mm-hmm. I love fun stuff like that. Like I've read a few of those that are just like, they just bet themselves. How can I put, I don't know, like the most disgusting thing, like a lot of them have to do with like, cannibalism or whatever. Like, how can I put cannibalism into this story in the most disgusting way possible? It's like they challenged themselves and wrote a whole book about it. Yeah. It's like, I love the fun aspect of that, of just like the fun gore.
It's creative is the thing. It's very creative. Yeah.
It is.
It's not just another freaking Marvel movie. I mean,
exactly.
You know? What I mean? Oh my god! Or like another freaking Disney series, because we apparently need more Star Wars. I don't like seriously. Seriously.
And you know, I love Star Wars.
Me too.
But I'm not.
Lordy,
I was fine with the first 3. Like I was good.
Yeah,
I remember the hype. I waited in line. I waited in line for episode 1 in 2001. You know, whatever it was, you know, we all did the thing.
Oh yeah. Cause the excitement around it coming back was just none of it.
They're good, but I don't know. It's just like, I feel like sometimes we lose the plot when it just gets overwhelmed.
Absolutely. Like we've watched a few of those like little spin-off things and like, it's entertaining. Sure. It's entertaining, but none of it will ever capture the magic of the original 4, 5, and 6, the original 3 movies. It's like you can like you're just trying to sell shit at this point.
It is,
like,
and because
we know it.
It's like such a space and time. Like I think it's because it's like you can't recreate the feel of the Ewok scene
Yes.
ever again. It's like it's the 70s feel of it. You know what I mean? The 60s, you know, wherever it was.
Yep.
It's the whole, you know, vibe. Just like I rewatched Mallrats the other day. And I'm like, you can't ever make this ever again. No one will understand the mall like we understood the mall.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't ever do it again.
Yeah.
It's a time and place.
It's a time
like
and
when
place.
You try to replicate it, you know. I'm a huge, speaking of Mallrats, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. I was a huge Jay and Silent Bob girly. Like, that was my shit. Yep. And like, even I've tried to watch the latest reboot. And I got halfway through and I was like, I love you guys, but like, it was a time and place.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can't say what you want to say
turned
anymore.
It off. You can't do that anymore. We turned it off in the reboot. We watched about half of it and turned it off. Yeah, because we're like, it's just that time it's done. That era has passed. And
it's like
find something new, I guess. And
I guess
if you want the old, just watch the old.
Just watch the old. Because like there are so many things, and I'm talking like not only, you know, Kevin Smith, but look back at Adam Sandler. They're about to redo Happy Gilmore.
Okay.
You can't say or do half the stuff that they said and did in that time now without getting ripped to shreds. It was a time and a place. It was a whole world in itself. And it's like when you take it out of that context, it just doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore.
Sad.
Yeah. It's so sad. Yeah, Kevin and I have been doing this thing where we like a couple times a month we rewatch like old movies from like the 80s and 90s. And you cannot say and do half the shit that's in those movies, and yet they're trying to remake them. Like, I think I saw something where like they're going to remake Clueless, and they're remaking or it's an addition. I don't know if it was a remake or a like sequel to, and Spaceballs. Tell me how you're going to do Spaceballs in today's climate.
Walk away. How are you going to do any Mel Brooks in today's climate?
Right?
Turn around and walk away. You cannot touch it.
You're going to ruin it, basically. There's no way for that to go because the whole energy of it is that. And if you take that piece out of it.
No one's going to do shit like Hitler in Springtime. Like,
right?
You can't
do that anymore. Yeah. It's so interesting how like, and I think it's because like our generation is coming up into the decision-making portion of life.
Yeah.
And we're like, we want Dockers and Mel Brooks and Jay and Silent Bob. And like, that is our generation going, we want the stuff that used to actually make us happy and make us feel good, especially in today's day and age and climate.
Yeah.
However, the world is not the same place. And as much as we would like it to be, it's fucking not. And you can't do that shit anymore.
You can't. And so like, I'd rather watch what I had.
Yeah.
And be thankful for that than someone try and recreate it. Cause it just won't.
It won't work. Yeah. I mean, did you see the Beetlejuice?
I haven't seen the new one. I'm scared.
The new one. That one it's cute because they didn't try to remake it. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's got like a similar vibe and energy and all of that to it. And it is a cute one. We were surprised by it because I was expecting to be like, yep, they're just going to remake it and all of that. And they didn't. And they kept the original intention behind it.
I love that. I mean, it is Tim Burton. I was hoping.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. But there have been a few that it's just like, it's just a reboot and you're like, why? Like, I mean, I know why. It's not been money, right? They just want the money. But like, it's why there's 900 Star Wars TV shows now because they just want the money because you put Star Wars on it and it sells.
Exactly. I mean, look at what happened with Willy Wonka. Like, granted, it's Tim Burton. Again, I want to see Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka, but it doesn't touch Gene Wilder. It doesn't touch the same feel. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's like, I can appreciate it, but at the same time, like, why don't we have classics anymore? Like, no one's tried to remake Casablanca, have they? Not to my knowledge. Like, not
to my knowledge. Yeah.
why can't we just have like really good shows and not have to redo it? Can't you just enjoy, like, I heard there's talk about the Goonies. I'm really pissed about it.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but
I'm not surprised either. But you can't remake the Goonies. It's the Goonies. It's the Truffle Shuffle. Like, you can't.
Yes, you can't. You can't do that. It's this whole idea of like almost like erasing what was.
Why?
Like why? Yeah. I mean, look at like in the Tarotscape, we still use classic RWS with Pixie's art. All this new stuff that we have, it doesn't like devalue.
Look at the Marseille.
Yeah.
Like, we're still using that. We're still using what playing cards haven't changed.
Right.
For the most part. You know, like, why? Like, it's fun to play off of it, but we're not trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the problem. They're not trying to do something different with it.
No.
They're just remaking it because they want to make a buck, and it was popular then, and people will watch it for the nostalgia. Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah, they will, because I'm gonna be a sucker for it. But like, that's the same thing with like the Jim Henson stuff and Brian Froud and that space and time. Man, that was a sweet spot.
That was something. Yeah.
I wish we don't see that. I don't know. It's hard to describe. We don't see that feel in art and media anymore. I find like that. Yeah. Brian Froud and Jim Henson, especially when they did like the Labyrinth and stuff. And I go that because Brian Froud, that's one of my favorite oracles, and it will always be. Yeah. And it's such a particular feeling. It's the elongation. Again, it's the strange coming in with the mundane that really created a whole feel and it felt very otherworldly. And like, you could sit next to these characters and you can utilize that energy and you can use it. And it's like, I feel like that bubble, that feel is really hard to find nowadays, where that true fantasy, that true imagination takes over in this dreamlike scape that kind of blends reality. It's hard to find that in art and any form of media these days. Like, we have AI, that's not what I'm talking about. It's not the same. Yeah. It doesn't blend in that way.
It doesn't have that surrealness, and that's the kind of the point of fantasy, right? It's to take all fantasy is based in reality and twisted.
Yes,
that's where I mean, you look at like Lord of the Rings, based in reality, twisted to be this weird. Yeah, and that's what makes it great about it. And I think that's one of the really great things about fantasy is that it takes that reality of things and then twists it in this different, unexpected way. I think I saw this post the other day that was like, somebody was like, I was just thinking about old folks' homes when we get there, and instead of playing bridge and pinochle, it's going to be D&D. And I'm like, yes, I am there for that. But that it's kind of that kind of fantasy world where you have, like, if you think of like D&D, that is all imaginary fantasy that is so twisted and different depending on who's playing and who's interacting. And none of it is scripted. So it's all just this weird kind of, because if you think about as a D&D player, you're usually sitting there and there's some facets of you coming through your character, right? So that's the reality. Always. But you're twisting it and you're exaggerating and you're changing this aspect and that aspect to lean more into it. And I feel like that is like the heart of fantasy.
It is. It's character development, going
through. Please don't do that anymore.
They don't do it. Like, I remember, being in high school and learning and going into acting and doing that a bit in college and learning about that character development and like, where would you be? And it's like, when you have these characters, it's like you can take yourself and then, like you said, exaggerate and stretch and morph it wherever you want to go. And it's so interesting to step outside yourself and say, if I was this kind of person, where would I go? What would I do? I find that the most interesting about D&D as well, because it like, it takes those elements that you're used to and puts it in a different context, puts it in that fantasy realm, and lets you play endlessly. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then you can add horror, you can add humor, you can add anything that you want and kind of overlay it on this world. And I just find that fascinating. That's one thing that's always fascinated me was D&D.
The really interesting thing, the combination, I think, of like D&D and then like tarot, because you can do the same thing with a tarot deck. And I don't know that people realize that.
You totally can.
You can like create this whole idea, like using the cards and the art and everything as inspiration to look at those aspects and to kind of like create this whole persona that is a piece of yourself exaggerated to that extent. Like, what if you allowed yourself to this, that, or the other?
Yes. I do that sometimes with the images. Like when I was talking earlier about the devil card that I put in my journal or whatever, it was just like, I just really liked the face, man. There was something about it that stood out. And it's like, well, what if I just went with that?
Yeah.
And just played around with that. What did that feel like? Where did it take me? And then jot down the idea that it gave me. And like, you know, I pulled something from a book and I was like, oh man, this word or that word or, and then just add that to it and like expand it and go through that feel in the same way that I would have built a character around this devil. Right. Because of the way that his mouth moved. He was so expressive. He was even surprised you were there.
Right.
Welcome to the party, man. What are you doing here? Like it just,
there's so much you can learn about yourself in that aspect too. Like that it's, why a certain card makes you feel a certain way and, or what it makes you think of or whatever. There's little glimmers of insight that I think that because it's not like a message, it's not like here's what you need to do today. But for me personally, those small moments were so much more than what do I need to do today?
Absolutely. Like, and speaking of the Brian Froud Oracle, the Fairies Oracle, that was one of the first books that I read that really taught me how to sit and just feel it out. Because one of the first things you read in that book is read this part. Now put this book down, grab your deck, look through what repels you. Put that aside.
Yeah.
What do you fall in love with? Put that aside. And then sit with it and ask yourself why.
There's and so much more interesting.
It's so much cooler, man.
Yeah. So much more fun than just like nothing against like the daily check-in. I still do them, but
yeah, me too.
Doing that kind of exploration with, cards or art or whatever words, like you can do it with poetry, you could do it with like bibliomancy, all kinds of things. Taking it to that level and getting beyond kind of like that routine that we tend to fall into, I think is really fascinating.
And I used to do it a lot with music as a kid.
Music's a great one to do it with.
Yes. And like, I still like some of my paintings, like I have playlists because I just wanted a mood and I painted to that mood, in that same way. And it's like, I kind of try to incorporate that in what I do now, it's like having the tone, I guess.
Yeah.
I had something else to say about that and I lost where I was going, but I wanted to say something else. Oh, well,
it'll come back. Probably. Yeah. I create playlists too. Cause everything, like, I swear everything I do is a mood. Like it's just, I'm just a moody person apparently, because I read tarot moody, I make art moody, and it all reflects like, I'm like the least hidden creative person because you can absolutely see what I was feeling, thinking like, it doesn't matter if I'm doing a tarot reading or making a game video. If you're looking, my shit is right on the surface there. Yep. You can see everything I was thinking, feeling in that moment, good, bad, or otherwise. And it's just all right there on the surface. And usually there's a playlist that goes along with it.
Yes. Oh, I remember what it was. Okay. So I was thinking about the mood, setting the mood, and then you were talking about poetry. I would do that for music. I would write or decorate or do something or make something with that mood. But then also I went through this stage of poetry where like I was obsessed with Bukowski. I was obsessed with oh God, the book is called Fear of Dreaming. Jim Carroll. He was you know what I'm talking about? You remember the Basketball Diaries with Leonardo DiCaprio back in the Gap? Okay, that's Jim Carroll's story. So Jim Carroll's poetry. Holy shit balls. I loved it as a kid. It had a rhythm to it. And I would cut pages out of magazines and cut strips, and I would write the poem down, and I would make artwork around the poetry. But I do that with tarot now.
Yeah, that's so
cool.
Like
you find those certain cards that spark something, and you just expand on it, and like that was the point that I think I was trying to make. I remembered when you said something, I was like, oh, the poetry. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's amazing. I think that is where that creativity meets like growth, right?
Yeah,
because you're creating and you're doing something, creative with it or artistic with it, and then you find those growth moments within. I think, do you ever get people who tell you like, oh, I'm not creative, I can't do what you do? Like, honey, you can. Like, you don't have to be an artist. Even if you're just like laying cards on the table, you can be creative with how you lay them, what decks you use, what you take away from it. It's not like, doesn't necessarily have to be a visual creativity.
No, I tell people all the time, I'm like, creating a spreadsheet is still creating. Like, yes, you can. It's just, where are you focused on? Like, I can't draw. I can't draw either. I just make a bunch of lines on a page. Sometimes I'll draw with my non-dominant hand just to get out of my own head, because no, you can't draw, but I bet you can make it look like a dog-ish.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's just making it's making moves. It's creating movement. It's creating lines. It's using color. It's using a feel. It's using lighting and atmosphere. But that comes in, like, those are just typical things. Like, you do have a creative mind no matter which way you slice it. I say, if you're even pulling out a tarot deck, you obviously have a creative mind.
You are creative. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
If you weren't, you would pull this out and look at it and it would mean nothing to you.
Yeah.
It would be lines on a page. Yeah. But it's not. So you obviously are creative. That's no. Splattering paint over your words is creating an artistic masterpiece, done and done.
As is just writing words on a page. Even if it's just words on a page, that's still creative. Like, journaling, no matter what it looks like, is creative. And
absolutely.
And even, like I said, the way you lay your cards or the decks that you choose, like, those are all creative aspects to a larger thing. And like, what if we all started looking at our readings like works of art? What if every card I laid down and every way I laid it down and everything I wrote about it, like, what if I actually treated it like art? How cool would that be? How would that change? I love the
concept. What would you do though? Like, okay, you wake up tomorrow and you say, art. every card I pull is art.
Yeah.
What does that then turn into? Because my brain immediately goes, I lay this card down. If I wanted to treat this as today's art piece, what would I do? Sometimes I might put candles or flowers around it. Some days I might put it on my altar, maybe. Or like some days I might bring it to my desk and put it up. And maybe everything I touch that day is going to have purple in it, because that purple is calling to me. And I'm allowing this art to take over. This is an art piece. Me setting it up on there is its own altar space. Like, what does your day look like after you've done that? Like, where does your mind go? I
feel like my mind goes, like, if I allowed a card. Let's not even like, if we take out like a reading, right? Just a card. So like taking the idea of like the daily card pull. So like, what if we made the daily card pull art? So you could move that card around with you and you can incorporate it. So like my day, if I pulled a card, like maybe I would look at how I can incorporate that into whatever I'm writing or whatever I'm creating. And then, I don't know, maybe like even mundane stuff like, okay, I pulled a card. What am I going to eat that like represents this card, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if you used the card as a way to create living art? You're actually living with it.
I love that. I've been doing a lot of like active, like trying to incorporate like kind of active magic, if you will, into my life. Like, how do I feed this? Like, I'm doing that right now with my creativity because I have a tendency to allow myself to let it go. That's the easiest thing to put aside.
Right.
In regular life, because adulting and responsibility speak so much louder than creativity. Yeah. So it's like,
absolutely. Yeah.
That's an active spell for me that I like literally set an intention on a specific journal that every time I touch it, not only does this creativity flow, it grows, right? So every time I'm standing there, the back of my brain says there's an intent on this, you're about to get flooded. And just like setting that intention and allowing that to, again, expand and spread, you know? So the idea of having that as an art piece and like, what would you do for it? Even if you didn't like, I love the idea of making it an active daily art.
Yeah.
Because like art. You can put it in a different set. Like, okay, you go in your kitchen, like you said, you go in your kitchen, what do you eat? Like, and then a part of me is like, well, how would I display it while I'm in the kitchen? Let's say I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Where would I put that in my kitchen? I want to.
Where would you put it? Like, yeah.
Where would you put it? And like, would you move stuff around to like, would you like, I don't know, move your cookbooks next to it? Or like, would you put your ingredients beside it? Or would you have it in a different space? Or like, you know, like there's so much that you can play with when it comes to that.
I have this like vision of like carrying around a tarot card. Like, I kind of want to do it. Carrying around a tarot card like a teddy bear, right? I was just joking with Kevin the other night. We were watching this. Something was like slightly scary. And I was like, I need a couch teddy bear. This needs to happen. And he's like, you have a million stuffed animals around this house. And I was like, well, this one is not, you know, doesn't work for this. And this one has already got this intention. And this one has already got that intention. And I can't bring it in here because it's not a couch teddy bear, right?
Right. Like I have Miss Piggy up here. I'm not bringing Miss Piggy in the house. She doesn't belong in the house. Miss Piggy belongs on this shelf because Miss Piggy belongs on this shelf. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. And he was teasing me. He's like, go get your Astarian. I'm like, my Astarian is pokey. And that's not what I need right now. I'm like, that is why he's on the shelf, because he's pokey. I don't want to be pokey, and I
don't need that. I need a squishy.
I need squishy. But like, just I have this like vision of like carrying around a tarot card for a day, like a teddy bear, like a blanket, like, and then putting it into like, if I was in here, where would I set it versus when I'm in my game room, where would I set it versus where I'm in my living room? Like, it would be so interesting to like literally live with a card.
With it, right? Like, and then like, I keep thinking about like how cool that would look. And I don't know why I'm going to be honest with you. I have not picked up my regular Pixie RWS in a hot minute, but I can't get it out of my mind since we started talking about that Diablo map thing. But like, even thinking about that, like I would want to do that with the RWS and like bring it around, like, and almost like take like a picture vlog, like have one day
that would be so
just
cool.
Like, yeah, picture vlog, be like, okay, me and the 5 of Swords hanging out by this tree, guys. We're over here in the garden.
That would be so cool.
You know, like, I don't know, and like so setting it up where it looks like, I don't know, it's holding up my tomato. Or like, you know, like, these are the things that are flowing through my mind right now. Like, how fun would that be?
How fun would that be? I was just thinking yesterday, so it was like, I was working on my novel, and like when I was asking you about the decks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was working on my novel and I was like, she has a deck. And I was like, I need to like carry a deck around. I guess this is what does in the back of my mind make me think about it. Just like she's always got her deck with her and she carries it around. I don't literally carry a deck around with me because I have so many of them everywhere.
I know, me too.
But then I was thinking like, how would that feel? And I have this RWS, it's vintage and it feels like an old sweater. And no other deck do I have feels like that. And then when you were talking about carrying the RWS around, I'm like, that'd be the perfect one to do it with because it already has that lived in feeling to it.
Yes.
And like that feeling that I would love for all of my decks to have, but certain cardstock, it just ain't going to do that.
It's just not going to happen.
But it's just not. This is, it's like, it's a vintage RWS and it's got that old.
Yes. Oh, that feel. And it's like, that's what I wanted. That was like my whole intention of making my playing card deck. Mm-hmm. Because like I have my mamas. So my grandma, it's on my altar, but like, it's already falling apart. Like that's not, I don't want to carry that around, but I wanted one to feel like that. I wanted it to feel like that, but it needed to look old and it needed to whatever. And it's like, you get the certain kind of cardstock and like, that's exactly what I want to do with this. I want to shove this in my bag. I want to put it in my pocket. I want to put it, I always think like, if you have a t-shirt pocket, you put that in your pocket. My pop always had his, or it was his pack of cigarettes. It's always in his pocket. So it's like you always have it in your pocket because you want it to feel soft and old, like you rummaged through it and you done it. And it's like that's one of those aspects where it's like, no, I don't bring it around with me, but I want to and I should.
Yeah.
What would it look like if I did that for a week?
What would it look like if I did that? That would be so cool because when I was thinking about that, like the reason that deck feels the way it does, one, it's old, but two, it's been loved. It's been lived in, right? And it's not pristine and it has that old teddy bear, old blanket kind of feel to it. And no other deck I have feels like that one.
See, my RWS,
and I never
had an
use
old
it.
Yellow. No, that's like my old yellow box one. I cut the edges and then I, aged it all. Mm-hmm. It's so like lived in and used and whatever. And it's like, that would be the RWS I would probably take around with me, because like it's already got that like lived in vibe. Because I lived in it, Because
you lived in it. Yeah, that would be so cool. I feel like that sometimes that kind of stuff is like missing from my tarot practice, right?
Me too.
Like I love the routine of, checking in and of doing readings and things like that. But like we live with all of these decks around us all the time, but I don't touch 90% of them.
No, and it's like my creative outlet in the same way, like, pulling my daily cards. I love taking my photos, like, and like some days I do it for Instagram, like I'll do it on my Instagram and I don't do it as much as I used to. Mm-hmm. But that's my favorite part. Like I'll even do that if I'm sitting, like I'm going to set my surroundings beautifully and it makes me feel good. Like I love that whole look and that whole aspect of it. But it's like, I look at it and then I put it away. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, I want to bring back that aspect of like, I remember I'm going to talk about playing cards for a little bit because it, that's on my mind with taking it around with you.
Yeah.
Because like, it makes me think of growing up. Like I said, my pop kept his, but my pop was the reader. So my pop kept his cards like in his pocket most of the time. Mm-hmm. Almost all of the time. If they weren't, then they were on the table. And like, now that I'm sitting here thinking us talking about this, I'm like, how many times were we just sitting, drinking coffee or sitting and talking and he just pulled his cards out just to shuffle them, play solitaire, play, and then put them away, put them back in his pocket. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But he's
living with them. He's living with them.
He lived with them. Yeah. So I'm like, gosh, I probably would. I'd probably sit there while I'm, eating my lunch and shuffle my cards and lay a few out if I had them with me at every point, I would do that probably.
I would too. And definitely like shuffling. Shuffling is a really relaxing, just kind of great, especially if you're like a fidgeter, right? You shuffle. that's a great thing to keep your hands busy or whatever. It's one of the reasons I have so many damn crystal skulls, because I usually have one in my hand because it's like a fidget thing.
Because it's like a fidget. I have my, like I have all kinds of little things like this. If I want something that makes noise, I love the feel of this in my hand. And it's just an old bracelet. I don't wear this.
Yeah.
But I really like having it around, you know, like, or I have crystals and I have, you know, like just little trinkets all over the place.
Same. Yeah. Cause I need something to just like play with a lot of the time, and just, I don't know, usually got one hand on a mouse and the other hand is a crystal or something, or, you know, a figure of some sort, or dice. I'll do dice a lot too, cause I'll play with them while I'm just sitting there. Cause they make that, you know, clackety clackety sound.
Yeah. That's why I like that bracelet, because I like the little. I like the sound. I like the sound.
Got a great sound. Does that whole thing about like the difference between like, you know, doing something and being something, right? Like doing tarot versus living tarot type of a thing.
Yes, that really puts a cool perspective on like how to almost like enliven your tarot practice. Like if you're feeling stuck, like, God, that would be such an amazing thing to do. Is just like, well, then live with it for a couple of days and see how you feel. When I do spreads, I'm so big. Like, again, I'm like you. I love a good spread. But if I'm being real, like if someone came and sat down in front of me, I'm not pulling a spread.
No.
Like, unless it is requested, you come, you sit with me, we're pulling cards until it feels like I'm done. And we're just going to figure it out. And maybe I'm done and maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to let it tell me its own thing. I don't want to put those parameters on there. Like I do the same thing, because like there's sometimes I will create spreads if I want to touch on certain subjects at a certain time. I think there's a time and a place for it, but like there's nothing like just laying it all out and allowing it to speak in the same way. Like no matter what I do, and I like, you can see in some of my journals, if you watch any of my flip throughs or do any of this shit like that, like sometimes, what are you doing? Why is this next to this? What is it? Because I don't know. Because that's just how it came out. And
that's my favorite though. That is like anything that makes me think of, ooh, why did you do that? Because I don't know about you, but when I'm in the moment, I don't fucking know why I did it. It just happened.
It just felt right.
Like, this is going to be over here and this is going to be over here. And okay, I don't know. I guess.
And then have you ever had someone come behind you and be like, the way you did this, and it like goes into this, and there's this meaning and there's a structure, and you're just like,
yeah, cool.
It fits. I didn't do it for that reason, but I'm going to say that I did now. Thank you. Yes, that is exactly why I did it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, it's amazing to see what comes out of that. Because I'm sure I know for a fact there's got to be a ton of, you know, artists and tarot creators that are just like, that was an accidental intention, I guess. Like that was just an accidental like fit for this card or for this symbol or for whatever. And it was just kind of an accident, you know?
Those are the most amazing though, because I feel like those are like the ones that are really meant to be there.
Yes.
Like,
yes. Like I wonder every day. It's like my Roman Empire. The chicken on the 5 of Wands in the Druid craft. I'm like, did the artist know how much of an impact that chicken was going to be to me?
Right?
Did he know? Did he really know?
On some crazy level, yeah.
But it was meant to be there, because that is the most impactful chicken I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's meant to be there, absolutely. I love that. I'm always like, I never know what I'm doing. Never. I got no plan. I'm flying by the seat of my pants with everything I do.
I run on vibes.
I totally like moods and vibes, man. That's like my caffeine. That's absolutely what I run on. Because everything I do on a daily basis, like I need to do this thing, but I don't fucking feel like doing it, so I'm not doing it. And over here, I'm gonna go make this like this journal page or whatever, or I'm gonna write this thing or do this video or whatever, because I don't feel like doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing today.
When I tell you that is my life, it is like you have written a story of like how I because that is how I function. And I fought against it for so long. I've tried to be the 9 to 5. I've tried to be the corporate world. I've tried to be the organized housewife. I've tried to be a granola, like whatever. I'm going to try. This is great. I'm going to try. I don't fit there. And like, I got to be okay with that. I got to be okay with that. And so it's like being able to embrace those aspects of humanity. I think people assume that they feel these ways because they're broken. They're supposed to want to do the 9 to 5. They're supposed to want to do this. And they're supposed to want to, I don't know, follow the
be this, be that.
Be this, be that. And it's just like we try and try and try so hard to put ourselves and be that kind of person. Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know, that's just exhausting at the end of the day. Just
it is. And it doesn't fit most people.
It doesn't. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, it doesn't fit most people.
Who decided that this was the right thing to do? Because I just don't think that it flows with humanity in general. And like, I go back to, I had the privilege of growing up with my grandparents. And what I mean by that is they were retired farmers in general, like, so it was all day, every day was, what are they waking up and doing today? What are we doing today? And it was just kind of allowing the day to speak to you. I got to see that sometimes with both sets of my grandparents. Luckily, one of my sets of grandparents had a farm. So we'd go out and we'd get the chickens and we'd do the ducks. And then maybe we'd kill a chicken that day and pluck it. Right. Or maybe instead we were hauling eggs or maybe Granny was making a pie, with my grandpa, or were we going bush hog, or we're going to take a nap midday, but then maybe we're going to go fishing. And then if we're going to go fishing, maybe we catch some catfish. Maybe we have catfish tonight. Like, we allowed the day to dictate, and it just felt so productive all day. And then it's like, I grew up, once I started going to school and started getting it, like the wording changed, and sit down, do your job, go to work, do the thing. And it's like, it just doesn't seem as productive to do one thing all day instead of getting 12 things done all day. Like, that just doesn't seem.
It also it doesn't fit with the rhythm of how our bodies work too. It's always interesting to me when we go camping. So we take, take the kids camping, you live by your natural clock when you're camping most of the time. And it's such a different vibe and energy because everything becomes slower and like more sacred, and like little things become big moments. And it's just, I feel like that is kind of how we're more meant to function.
I agree. Like, think about, especially camping, like, and again, like thinking about growing up, it was too hot. What if it's too hot? You're not going to go hiking if it's too hot. You might go down to the creek though, or you might go, in the shade, or you might like, find something like, it's going to dictate what you do, and like what's happening outside. How much light do you have? How hot or cold is it? Like, these things matter, but when you put yourself in a regulated box, like, you don't have the ability to allow your natural cycles to form. I know this is like a whole other tangent.
I think it does relate back though, because if you think about, like, we were talking about at the very beginning of like creativity, that is how both of our creativity exists, because we follow the muse where she takes us. We don't try to stick her in a box, and we let it just go. And this is why we both bounce, because I think that is what's happening. We are living in alignment with our natural creative flow most of the time. And so we bounce to whatever, like, we're living in the moment.
Think about this moment. Think about that in itself. Like, how much as a society nowadays, we treat that as a bad thing to bounce around.
Absolutely, we do. Yeah.
But when you really break it down, what does nature do? That bird's not going to be flying in the height of the day. It's going to be sitting in the tree. It's going to bounce around. It might forage in the morning, but then it might build the nest for a little bit, but then it might get too hot. And so then it might go do something else. It's like, because that's a natural cycle. We're not meant to do the same thing all day. all the time. We have to switch that up. We have to allow those rhythms, but it's become like a dirty word.
It absolutely has. Or there's, now we've got all kinds of different associations to it in terms of this mental way of being, right?
This is OCD. This is ADHD.
Maybe it's just being human. Maybe it's just being human. I mean,
maybe it is. Maybe being a little weird is just being human.
It's just being human. I don't know anybody that, like, if you looked hard enough, you couldn't find some sort of modern medicine diagnosis for something that is just a natural part of their behavior. And I'm not saying that people don't have issues. I'm just saying it's part of being human.
But it is part of being human, and we just forget that. Humans are weird.
Humans are really weird.
I just want to bring the fun back into life and to realize that we are just silly little creatures.
I don't know about you, but like I am happiest when I am 5 years old.
Same.
And I am doing the ridiculous thing, or I'm ripping up books, or I'm dancing around the living room because a great song came on.
Yeah. We don't care who's watching you. And if there's somebody there, what are you going to do? You're not going to mean mug. You're going to be like, come play. Are you my new friend? Come play. Come play. It's like there's
everybody you meet is a potential new
everybody's friend. Your friend. And like, I brought my little girl to swimming. She's on the swim team. And so they had a little practice, some little lessons to kind of like help her going into her new year, this, that, and the other. And another mom had their daughter there. And she was like, oh, she never meets a stranger. I swear this girl talks to everybody. It's just so embarrassing. I'm like, I hope she never loses it.
Yeah.
Because she was a little bit older. Like normally kids get into that. I mean, like when they're 5, when they're 6, like they're still everybody's friend. And then they kind of stop doing that. And then they become like self-conscious or moody or, whatever. And I'm like, she's almost 11 and she's still everybody's friend. I'm like, I hope she never loses that, like. Because that's that sense of play. She laughs all the time.
That's amazing. Yeah, because like we as a culture, like we teach our kids not to be that way, right? We teach them how to be good little robots existing in our society. And we penalize them for, being kids and doing normal kids things. And then adults, you can't play. You can't have fun. You're an adult. You need to be responsible. And let me tell you, you can be responsible and a complete goofball at the same time. Those two things can coexist.
They can coexist. And I feel like they should coexist. Because
coexist. Yeah.
I went through such a long period of time where like, I'll be the first to admit it. Like, bro, I got serious. Like, I don't even know what my problem was. I was never that serious. Like, I just don't know what crept into my ass to make me so serious all the damn time, And it was just like, bruh, you are miserable. You were more happy just free flowing and being silly old you and not giving a shit about anything else. And it's like, why do we come to a point sometimes in our lives? And maybe it's just cycles where it's like, you just lose that.
Yeah.
And everything is just so serious. And then you realize like, man, life is too short for this bullshit, man.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me I'm not going to enjoy any aspect until I'm dead? And that what I had as a kid is completely gone and I'm never going to be happy like that again? What? I don't think that flows.
I mean, who wants to live life that way anyway? Like, it's this whole idea of like not being able to play or to have fun or to be silly as an adult is just, it's ridiculous to me because that's the time in your life when you need it the most.
You do need it the most. And like again, I'm going to go back to like, growing up, it's like when back in the Gap, especially in our culture, like everybody danced. Like you went out dancing. That's what you did. All the stories that I heard growing up, granted, a lot of them included drinking and driving. Do not recommend, don't do that. But, those are the stories that I heard growing up. Well, I met such and such. Oh, well, we was out dancing. We'd go dancing every night, or we'd go and you'd eat supper and you'd go dance and you'd go dance and you'd go dance and you'd go dance. And it's like, go try to find a place to go dance.
Yeah.
Go try to do, it's like now we're starting to see it again. But there was, I call it like the 80s where everything became like, what is it? Garden Gecko. What was his name? Gordon Gecko. The Wall Street, business.
Yeah.
Everything is, like whatever.
Yuppie thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like everything went very
capitalist.
And it's like nobody did anything with each other anymore. It was one against the other instead of like community.
And nobody had fun.
Nobody had fun.
Unless they were completely coked up. Because
my grandparents had fun all the damn time. They were playing cards with their friends. They were putting on the music and dancing. They were going through this and the other. I'm like, people don't do that shit no more. People don't go out and dance. People don't, play cards together anymore. But now I feel like our generation, like you said, ours is coming up. And I think we were the last ones to really see what that looked like in many ways, shapes, and forms. I know in our culture, my generation was the last ones to truly see it. And some of us didn't even see it then. Right. But like, it's us that are here now that are trying to bring it back. Like now, dude, I can tell you like 4 different places you could go Cajun dancing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, a couple people I could call, man, I bet I could get a card game going. I bet I could. I could. Because we're missing that. Because there's no more play. Everybody's so isolated, even though we have this social media thing and we see each other. But it's like, we want to interact. Like, it's like that interaction that means everything. So it's like, just you doing this and like being able to watch you talk to other people. And, like I'll do Glitter and Gators with Lisa or Hot Takes or whatever. And, you see, what is it, Tara and them doing chats as well. It's like when you see that interaction and you see, it's like, this is what it was all about to begin with. Like we're all playing now. We're all getting into visiting again, Yeah.
It's like when you used to just like leave the back door open because, just whoever might drop by, like my in-laws still live that way, but
that's how we did. It's like, you didn't know somebody just showed up. Yeah, somebody just showed up. It was like,
just show up and you put the coffee on and you get the cards out or whatever, it's poker, whatever it is, or you sit and chat about whatever like that. That doesn't exist most of the time in physical space, but if you curate it right, you can have that here.
Because like this is the best I could describe as like when this is what it felt like when I would watch my grandma have her sister just pop over, one of her sisters, come over in the morning, drink a cup of coffee because they were making a pass. That's what you did. You made a pass. You went visit.
Yeah.
You had a cup of coffee and then you went home.
Yep. And you talked about whatever. You just made a little pass. These are like my favorite videos to make because that's totally the vibe I was going for. Like we're not doing we're not doing all of that. We're just gonna have a conversation and everybody's welcome to join in. And here we are.
We're just gonna make a little pass.
Yeah, we're gonna make a pass. I love that. And apparently we've got other things we're gonna make now. So
yes.
Moral of the story is next time either one of us gets stuck for making content, we just need to make a pass.
We just need to make a pass.
That's all we need to do.
That's all we need to do. Get you some coffee, shop. We're going to make a little pass.
We're going to make a pass. I love that. So we'll start calling it that.
Yes.
I'm out of ideas. Time to make a pass.
Time to make a pass.
I love that.